Crack a cold one with the boys.
I'm gonna have it start off like that. We're a little Arizona iced tea.
Some Arnold Palmer tea.
Anyway, you can hear good?
Yeah, I can hear good.
Great. Stefan, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good. You seem so excited.
I am. I had chicken and sirloin steak at Texas Roadhouse.
Our favorite place to go. I did not like the catfish. Not a big fan.
No?
No.
Wasn't seasoned properly?
I think it was. I just don't think catfish itself is
Very appetizing.
correct.
Fair enough.
It's not like salmon or...
Oh, salmon. So good.
Salmon is good. And I think catfish doesn't have a lot of flavor.
No.
Not a lot of flavor.
No. But shrimp, though, on the other hand, that's like the king of all seafood.
Really?
Yeah, if you literally put a platter of shrimp, like cooked shrimp, and you got the little the red stuff in there that what is it called? Like marinara sauce? No, it's not
Your
marinara.
favorite dish in the whole planet, you don't even know what it's called. It's cocktail sauce.
Cocktail sauce,
Yeah.
that's what it is. And no, you get a little bit of that or I don't know what else, like just some melted butter. Oh my God, it's so good.
You're going to eat the whole thing?
Oh,
If it's
dude.
an entire plate?
I'd be sick, but yeah, heck yeah, I would.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm going to be done eating for the rest of my life if I ever see that. I do not like shrimp either.
You don't like shrimp?
Part of the reason is
What the heck's
because...
wrong with you?
Did you ever go to that house that Ethan and I lived at? Not my brother Ethan.
No, I know.
Podcast Ethan.
Yeah, because we did hide and seek in the dark and scared the crap out of each other.
Yeah. Oh, we walked around with the candle.
Yeah,
That was terrifying.
It was. It was just
Yeah.
an empty house for the most part, especially downstairs in the basement.
Yeah, that
and
was
you
big.
had nothing but candlelight, literally.
Yeah. And the person who was it had to walk around with the candle as their light.
scary.
Great idea, though.
It was.
Is that the same night that we played Liar's Dice and everybody was dressed in costume?
Yeah, because I was Captain Fat Sparrow. And and yeah, I was because you had that up in your room, and I was like, I'm just gonna whip this on real quick. And I took pictures like I was mewing and stuff like that, like that.
Yeah. That was fun.
It
That
was
was a
fun.
fun night. If we could only recreate it.
If only.
Anyway, when we lived at that house, there was one time where Ethan put shrimp in the air fryer.
That's not a good idea. I don't feel
No,
like.
but it was after I put shrimp in the air fryer. So we both did it on separate occasions. And both times it made the house stink like shrimp. And so I think ever since then, I have just had a distaste for shrimp.
That's fair.
It's not my thing.
It's probably like the same thing when you go like work at a fast food joint and like if you work at McDonald's, like you're sitting there smelling of fries and burgers and fat and everything like that. Dude, I wouldn't be able to eat McDonald's ever again if I worked there. Not even on lunch break. I'd have to remove myself from the restaurant and even like deep clean my clothes to get the stench out.
And the grease.
Yeah, the grease
The amount
too.
of grease that comes on. I mean, I get greasy clothes from working at Jets.
Speaking of the McDonald's thing too, you hear the guy that did the Supersize Me? He died recently. I don't know how, but he was 53 years old.
You don't know how he died?
No, I don't remember. They said how he died, but I don't remember how he died exactly. But I know he was 53 years old, and they made the announcement. It was this week. And I was like, holy crap, man. I remember watching that documentary and like, it wasn't maybe it was phys ed, or maybe I think it was health class. That's what it was. Because that's where like we were learning about anatomy and all that other crap too. Like on top of like, you got to make sure like you have a fit body and stuff. And I mean, I'm pear-shaped right now, but I mean, slowly getting there to somewhat.
I wonder what
slim down.
I know what fruit I would be associated with. You're
What
pear-shaped.
fruit?
You're pear-shaped. What shape would I be as a fruit? You sigh.
He sighs dramatically. I would say not a fruit, but a vegetable, and you would be like Junior Asparagus. Because you're like skinny, and then you have like the little hair poof up top.
Okay.
And then like
I'll
I've never
be-
seen you wear
I'll
a
be
hat.
Junior.
Though. That's the only thing.
Does Junior wear hats?
He wears a hat to cut because I think it's just the fact he doesn't like like how asparagus has like that weird, because Alfred was he was Larry Boy's butler, in VeggieTales.
Yep.
And he had like the weird thing, I don't know what you call them, like leaf things or whatever that Asparagus has.
Yeah.
And Junior was like, I think embarrassed of his because it was like poofy, like an afro. And there was only, I think, 1 or 2 episodes of VeggieTales where his hat got removed. And it was like a split-second clip of like him just poofed out like asparagus
I think
hair.
I remember that. Dude, I haven't, it's been so long since I've watched VeggieTales.
They're apparently, oh no, wait, no, they're not going anymore, I don't think. I think they went into a different route where it was more like Disney Princess animated, where they had like pupils, like with different colored eyes, and they looked more detailed. Like you could see wrinkles and Bob the tomatoes, like
Yeah, and it wasn't
tomato
as,
skin.
not that it was ever 3D, but it was also,
it was way more polished. Back then, it was like 90s animation, where
voice crack, of course.
yeah, I know, voice crack. 31 years old and still going through puberty. But yeah, no, they had it where the computer animation back then was so limited that it was. I mean, it was still good.
Yeah, but you could.
You could tell.
I want to go
today.
back and wash it. And,
Wash it. Yeah, talk about my voice crack. You talk about washing VeggieTales.
I got bad grammar. I want to go back and watch it and see how the animation holds up.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, it probably does hold up a little bit, but not as well as it.
I don't know if it would.
No. Oh, definitely today. Absolutely not.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely not.
If we watched it today, it would be horrible.
Yeah, it would be.
look like a second grader did it.
Yeah. Or like a second grader or like a college student who's like just trying to find something to like pass his class because he hates what he did. It's a job.
Yep.
So he's just coming out with something. Here's a cucumber and here's a tomato and they're dancing and singing about Jesus and all that. So that's what they do. They go through the Bible verses like David and Goliath.
Well,
and,
not anymore.
Not anymore, but they had David and Goliath, and they had this one where Junior was in bed and he was sleeping and he was scared because of the dark. And then that's when like God is bigger than the boogeyman.
I remember that
He's
one.
bigger than Godzilla or the monsters on TV. Oh, God is bigger than the boogeyman, and he's watching out for you and me. Like that was the song.
Dude, that was perfect.
It was perfect.
Sounds like you just watched it.
Dude, it's implanted in my brain. Same thing with the where is my hairbrush?
Yep.
Oh, where is my hairbrush?
That was a silly songs with Larry.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah, that was. They had a whole like other segment of like silly songs with Larry. They had it there was the hairbrush. My favorite one was Cheeseburger. It was the squash guy that had no eyes and he just had he was French or something.
Yeah.
Cause you're his cheeseburger. And then it like just went on like all the ingredients being in love with one.
Was he even a character?
Yeah, he was a character. He was a secondary character and then he became a primary character. Cause
Right, but didn't he just sing that song or was he actually in the show?
No, he was in the show. He was, I think, one of the salesmen in the Madame Blueberry episode where she was like, it was about greed or something. Like, it's like, yeah.
They all had hidden meetings, but yeah.
Yeah. Like,
the greed.
I mean, because, yeah. It was
well, yeah, they have to, but because it's Christian.
Yeah.
But
because Junior wanted a toy train and then she's like, oh my God, he just wants that one thing and he can't afford it. And then, like, she stuffs her whole house and then it explodes and then, like, I don't know what happens at the end. She probably gets turned into blueberry juice for all I care. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, no, VeggieTales was something else, man. I love that. And Larry Boy, oh my God.
I remember the episode, the Larry Boy, I think it was, what's the one where he has to dig underground? That one legit used to scare me.
The rumor weed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a rumor weed. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, it was. They had the there was the Larry. The first one was like about the fib, the giant fib, and then there was rumor weed.
The fib one was okay, but the rumor weed kind of scared me because there was a part where he would go down in the tunnel.
Yeah,
and it was dark and spooky.
And then the weed popped out or something like that.
Or something. And it started off really small, and he just kept getting bigger, like a rumor does.
And then they had, this was the cool part too, is I don't know if this is 100% true, But at the church that we used to go to, and I think your parents probably still go to it, is they had a screening of the first VeggieTales cartoon, and it was Larry Boy and the Angry Eyebrows. And it was like, don't hold in your anger. If you do, then you'll lose all your friends. And then it's like this guy named, I forget. He's like an onion or something like that. And he has a sidekick called Lampy. And it's
Yes.
and it's like a literal lamp with like a smiley face on it. And it's like, oh, dude. And I mean, I like the animation for that, though. I think they should have stuck with the cartoon series for at least Larry Boy. Because Larry Boy was like my thing. I was a huge fan. I had the Larry Mobile. I had the Larry Boy stuffed animal. I had the like action
Well, he
figures.
shot plungers out of his ears. He was
Yeah.
sick, dude.
Yeah, he's a plunger hero. Larry Boy. Larry Boy. It was like, what was it? I think they said something stupid like Lima Bean, Green Machine, Larry Boy. I am that hero. Like that was his catchphrase. Is I am that hero. Like how lame, man. Like Batman's parents died and you're sitting here being a cucumber with plungers on your head. Come on, man.
Dude, I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool,
No,
too.
no, you didn't. You just, you clearly were making fun of him.
Nah, dude. I just like the design of Larry Boy. It was cool because it
Yeah,
was
it
like
was.
purple, yellow, and then black, and then him being a cucumber green. It looked cool. And then the whole that's the thing too, is even cartoons back then were way more creative. Like with
Yeah,
the
even
character
if the animation wasn't as great.
like they still could come up with their own stuff.
yeah, and the stories were good.
Yeah, like who
Because we remember Rumor Weed, Fib,
Angry Eyebrows.
Angry Eyebrows. When you bring that one up, I remember. I wouldn't have remembered that on my own, but when you talk about it, I do. And then Madam Blueberry, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember all of those episodes. Do you remember the Jonah one? It was like a movie.
Oh, yeah,
with
and
the
then-
caterpillar thing.
Yeah, because Alfred played as Jonah, and he
Yeah.
was like setting sail on a rubber duck, and then it got eaten by a whale, and then it went through that whole Bible scripture of like Jonah and the whale. And then they had one where it was a cowboy one, and it was, I forget the Bible verse, but it was like, so there was this father, and he had like 3 sons or something like that, or 4 sons.
Oh, yeah.
And it was cowboy themed because he got the special cowboy vest that was all rainbow and stuff.
Yep.
And then they pretended to like kill him, and they pushed him down like a mine shaft or whatever. And he's like, "Where's my son? He's been missing," or like he's passed away. And
Oh,
then
was
he
it supposed to be Joseph?
That's what it was.
The one with the dreams and.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they had that going on, and then I remember because I liked the cowboy hat that they had on Larry because they did a cartoon like here's how you draw Larry with a cowboy hat on, and then I would practice drawing it, but I was a kid and I was stubborn. I was like, it's not coming out perfect.
I remember also the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego one.
Oh, that was the Chocolate Rabbit Factory, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, and they're like, "You're gonna go in the oven." I was like, "Yo,
the
this is-"
bunny. Oh, I love the bunny. I didn't eat my soup or my bread, just the bunny. That was the big giant like cucumber with the mole on his nose. He was like the old dude that was like,
Oh, ew, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
because he
Yeah.
burned him in the furnace at the end, and then God and his angels like saved him. Or no, it was the angels that saved them from burning in the furnace, like melting the chocolate bunnies or whatever.
Yeah,
So it was a take on that. Oh my God, dude, that's nostalgia right there.
really is. And then there was a Goliath one too, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was just David and Goliath, but
Right.
it was like Junior was
David.
and then I forget I think it was just a random character that was just like
Goliath.
Goliath, yeah, and then the whole slingshot. They also had there was one episode where it was Larry was a king and he was obsessed with rubber ducks. Like was the thing. And then Junior was this poor little kid and he had like Larry was this greedy king that was like taking everybody's rubber ducks, and if you didn't, then he'd like exile you or something like that because kid friendly. And then he found out Junior had like a really perfect rubber duck for Larry to like take a bath in, and he goes, "I want that duck," and the whole episode was just him trying to steal the duck, and he took it from Junior, but then realized, oh man, maybe I shouldn't take things that don't belong to me. And then he gives like the duck back to Junior, And I think there was something else in there, but I remember that episode.
It's funny how every episode is like those 90s family sitcoms where the episode, like, they do something bad.
Right.
And then at the end,
They're
maybe
good.
I shouldn't do this every time. They have some epiphany for whatever reason.
Oh, of course.
Oh, we're at the 15-minute mark. Time to change the...
Time to change the subject.
No, I'm saying...
No.
I'm talking about I'm talking about in those episodes.
Oh, yeah.
But we can. Do you remember Chad
Chat. Oh,
from Community?
yeah, because we... Yup. Because we went to that freaking Bible camp. And, yeah, we did some crazy stuff. Because, yeah, Chad, oh, my God, dude. You know what was funny is I saw him at Target.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he recognize you?
He did. He immediately recognized me. He didn't recognize Annika though, because Annika, my sister, she took me to. She wanted to hang out, and so she's like, "Well, let's go to Target and see what's up. Let's see if they have a sale on something." And then we walked out, and all of a sudden, Chad parked next to my. I had my old 1991 Honda Accord.
Oh, so this was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah, and he pops out and he goes, "Stefan," and like really loud, and I was like, oh my God, like, who is this guy? How does he know me? And I looked up and down again. I was like, Chad? And he goes, yeah, man, how you doing? You remember me from New Community? And I was
Oh,
like,
it was New Community. That's
yeah,
what it was.
New Community. And I was like, yeah, man, and how you been? And he goes, good, how you been? Talked and caught up. But yeah, he seems to be doing pretty good last I know. Like, I mean, I think I'm friends with him on Facebook and stuff like that now. But yeah, Chad was an interesting character. And then me and John and him were going to be in the church's talent show. And we were sitting there and we were going to play Skillet's Monster.
Oh, goodness.
And we were practicing, like I was practicing on drums. My brother could play guitar. So he was going to do that. And Chad could sing. So it was going to be us three doing that. And then all of a sudden, like I think I like sprained my arm. So I couldn't do anything. So we had to cancel our sign up for the talent show, which we were all upset about because, dude, that was fun.
I'm sure the
practicing.
world thanks you for not covering Monster by Skillet, though.
That was, yeah, that's true, and especially with Chad singing, nails on a chalkboard. Like, literally, it was bad because he was too. He was like, "Yeah, man, we're just out here to have fun." He's like, I feel like a monster." Like it's like that guy from TikTok that like I think it's by Disturbed where he goes ooh ah, ah, ah," like that.
Yeah.
But he goes wah ah, ah, ah." like that. It's just like that, but 10 times worse.
Do you still listen to Skillet?
Yeah, I listen to Skillet.
Really?
Yeah, what's Invincible is a really good song. You make me feel invincible, but I feel it.
What album is that off?
I think it's not Monster.
No, is it the one after that?
I think it's the one after
Okay.
that.
Because after the Monster album, which I think was either called Awake or it was called Awake and Alive.
It was Awake. It was Awake and Alive. That was the Monster album.
Yes.
I'm awake. I'm alive. Yeah, Skillet's great.
But I have to say, that album was their downfall, I think.
Why do you think?
Because of Monster, first of all. Well, as a kid, I thought that song was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Especially when they did like the special effect, which like,
feel like a monster. See, that wasn't even special effects. That's just me.
Oh, yeah, maybe it was real then. But with
Maybe it was. The world may never know.
but that album, it was like half good, half bad, and then after that, I feel like they
like picked up a bit.
they kind of went downhill from there. But to be fair, I also haven't really listened to their newer stuff, so
Yeah.
I can't really say.
They got some like the newer stuff's good. I don't remember any of the songs right now because it's like I have a playlist that I listen to like at work. And it's got a mix of Skillet and their old stuff and their new stuff. And then it's got a mix of Alan Jackson and Zach Brown Band, whatever.
Who?
And
Skillet has Zach Brown on his album?
no. Like I have a playlist that's
Oh,
it's
okay, I
random
missed that part.
musicians and stuff like
Gotcha.
that. So like, yeah, Skillet, like their stuff is like cool. Like I like Invincible, like Awake and Alive. There's and then Monster, of course. There's like another one that I listen to that's like really good. God, I can't think of the name of the song, but it's super good. It's very catchy too.
By
I-
Skillet?
Yeah, it's by Skillet. I just can't think of it right now for the life of me. So I mean, but yeah, no, I like their music. Same thing with Randy Travis too. Like, I know he had a stroke like back in 2013, but then he just recently came back in 2024 with like
Came back.
came back with like an AI song. And
For those listening on just audio, we did what are these air quotes when we said Randy Travis coming back because
it's all AI generated. Like it's his voice, but it's not his voice at the same time, if that makes sense. It's not as bassy as Randy Travis used to be.
Yeah.
And he used to be like, especially like, I'm going to have a little talk with Jesus when I get home tonight. I'm going to tell him all about my troubles, and I know he'll make them right. I'm going to ask him to forgive me for the things that I've done wrong. I'm going to have a little talk with Jesus when I get home tonight.
You keep that up, we're going to get copyrighted on YouTube because I can't tell the difference.
It sounds so familiar. The resemblance is iconic.
Jeez.
Yeah, but like, yeah, Randy Travis though. I mean, Mom used to. I think she still does. I think she listens more to Elvis since our grandma died, but like a while ago. But yeah, Randy Travis was like really like fun to listen to. Like as kids, not so much because she would play it. This is how old school we were. We had a cassette player in our car, not even a CD player. Yeah, it was AM, FM radio, and a cassette player. That was top dollar back in the day. And yeah, that's what we would listen to. And so we listened to that. And oh my, you know what another cartoon Christian thing is?
What?
Adventures in Odyssey.
Oh my goodness.
My favorite character was Eugene, the nerd that played the ukulele. Yeah, dude, that stuff. They had Christmas movies and like a bunch. They had a TV show, and then they had the cassette tapes that were like storytelling. Like they had like flip over to part B for the ending of the story. And then Mr. Whitaker was the old man.
Yep.
Dylan was the kid. I forget the dog's name. But yeah, and then there was his dad who looked like Dexter's dad from Dexter's Laboratory. And then I don't know if he had a mom. I think he probably had a mom, but I remember the dad, like he had a really long nose. And he would always talk about Mr. Whitaker. And then there was a song with Eugene that he sang during a Christmas episode called Season. What was it? It was Season Installations or something like that, whatever it was. And it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But it was so, like, as a kid, you're hearing that. It's like, wow, this is actually kind of good. But yeah, Adventures in Odyssey.
Dude, you can, if you listen to the Bible Broadcasting Network on 102.9.
Do they actually play Adventures of Odyssey?
Yes.
Are they still going?
I don't think they're new.
Oh, but they're just like repeats of older.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I'm 30, and sometimes when I'm just driving around, because I don't have a hookup for my phone right now.
Yeah.
I listen to it, and it's kind of nice.
It's soothing. Like, dude,
soothing's the right word.
I went down memory lane, man. Shoot. Like, yeah, dude, Adventures in Odyssey. Like, that's the thing, too, is like, there are some like really good, like Christian, like musicians and cartoons.
Yeah, you just got to find them.
Yeah, you just got to find them. And it's like, I mean, granted, there are people that try way too hard with it. Like, there's some weird cartoon I found recently on TikTok, and I forget the name of it, but it puts like all these like beliefs in one cartoon. Like it's got Judaism, it's got Christian, like it literally, the Jewish superhero's name is Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh goodness.
And then the Christian guy's name is Crisscross. And then I forget like the Muslim guy's name, and then there's like, I forget the girl's name. But like they combine into like this unit. It's supposed to symbolize like, yeah, you know, no matter what religion you are or whatever, we can all get along. And then they like fight bad guys according to like, oh, it's Satan. He's stealing cotton candy again from the Ferris wheel kid. Stuff like that. And it's like
I have no words. Actually, I do have words. That's kind of scary to think about.
Yeah, it is.
Because in the end times, it talks about how there's going to be the one
world.
Yeah, one world government, one world religion. And it sounds like to me that's what they're trying to do.
They're trying to get people ready for it before like it actually happens, so it's not as big of a deal.
Right. It's what is it called when you desensitized to it and indoctrinated you into it so you accept it easily or
It's just like aliens.
easily
at
is not
this
a word.
point.
More easy you accept it.
Just like the alien thing at this point. Like they announced like, oh my, there's aliens. And then they like, oh, well, here's some mummified aliens we've been hiding for like over 50 years. And it ended up being cake. Like, and it was discovered in Mexico. You didn't.
Yeah, I know about that, but I don't think that was the government. It was just
like a prank.
Yeah, it was
I
just
feel like it
some
was
guy.
government related. Like,
Was
like-
it?
I feel like it because it was like some.
Well, what's your take on aliens that aren't cake? Do you think they're real?
No, they're if anything, they're demons disguised to some like to make us like believe like there's other beings and because that's the thing too is like demons will like they could camouflage just like me and you, like to not obviously saying.
Stefan, are you?
No, they'll use like people like even in your life, you know what I mean? Just in general, like they'll not necessarily take over, but they'll put those influences in people's heads that like have been in your life.
Yeah.
Like as an example, exes. Like there's been at least 2 exes of mine that have, you know, there's been thoughts whispering in my ear and then they say certain words that like I know for a fact like they're not just trying to get me back because they genuinely like me. That's the devil and his demons trying to get me to get lured back into another toxic relationship or the same toxic relationship. Might be 10 times more worse. So that's the thing with that is just they can disguise themselves in any shape or form. Aliens don't exist. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because they would have made themselves known way longer.
Yeah, and if they were as powerful as
Like
we think they would be, they wouldn't take time to take us over. They just come in.
Right. Like if they got UFOs that like they can move faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah, and then it doesn't change when they go underwater. So
Right.
obviously it's breaking physics, so it has to be from the spiritual realm. But my question is how are they showing themselves in the physical realm? If demons are spiritual, that's where I'm because I don't think they're aliens.
Right.
And I do agree that they're demons. Or I should say I want to believe that they're demons.
You want to believe they're demons?
But at the same time, it's like it's a spiritual realm. So why are they showing themselves in the physical? And why is it always something flying around in the sky? How come people don't see demons like running across my apartment or something? Well,
that's a good question. That'd be scary. First of all,
yeah,
never come here again.
I don't even want to sleep tonight after saying that because that just kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, it's just like that whole time. You remember it? Like when I think I was staying the night at your parents' house when you were living there. And I was like, just imagine like you walk downstairs one day and you're like, Ma, home from work or something like that. And then you hear from upstairs, like, all right, sweetie, I'm just getting you lunch ready or something like that or whatever. And then like your closet door, you open it and then you just hear your mom, you see her and you're like, Ma, what are you doing in there? He goes, that's not me upstairs. Like,
oh my gosh, Stefan, that's so creepy. Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
yeah, you're like, well, thanks for that thought coming in. It's like you were so genuinely upset, but it was so great.
Luckily, I don't have any. There's just 2 rooms in here, so I don't freak out too much.
Yeah.
But then, well, okay, so let's go down this route. What do you think of Bigfoot and cryptids and all those?
So here's my take on that.
Yeah.
So we already know that Bigfoot is the scariest creature known to man next to Bigfoot. Little shout out. So yeah, we all know like, you know, they always are like, that's one thing Bigfoot is probably, because there's like the Jersey Devil, there's the Chupacabra, there's Bigfoot, there's the skunk ape,
which is basically Bigfoot.
which is basically the same thing with the abominable snowman.
Yeah, it's like a polar bear versus a grizzly bear type.
Right.
Difference.
So essentially just different versions of Bigfoot, and then there's like, there's some
Michigan
weird,
dog man.
yeah, the Michigan dog man with a werewolf, the Mothman. There's a bunch of them. I think, if anything, I think Bigfoot would probably, as weird as it sounds, I think Bigfoot would probably be the most realistic one to exist because of the fact it's mostly like humanoidish.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'd be essentially a bigger human, which they do have recordings of like, and photos of like people that are really huge, just not like covered in fur like a bear.
Right.
But then you get like things like the Jersey Devil, where it's like a girl gave birth to her 13th child, and that's how the whole Friday the 13th thing became a conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay.
And so she gives birth to like a normal child at first, and then it grows like the bottom half grows like hooves and goat legs, and then the upper portion is like a human body, and then you get like the head of a horse and a goat mixed, and you get bat wings, and then it just eats everybody in the house and flies away. Like, no, come on. If anything, that would be a demon in its true form. If anything.
Yeah. Right.
And then like you got like the Mothman, same thing, demon in its own form. Same thing with the Chupacabra, though. I think that could be, and again, I think next to Bigfoot, that could be its own like kind of actual thing that could exist out there, with the background of maybe from Area 51 or some experiment that somebody, because you know like how they have labs where they test products on animals and stuff like that.
Yes.
They could be doing stuff with a dog, for example, which I think the Chupacabra is like a dog or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe they're testing some weird products for like, here's how to de-age a human, and here's how to, make them live forever. But then there's like a weird random side effect that they don't know of, and then it breaks out, and then there you go. You got an experiment gone wrong. Like that, I think those two are probably the most believable out of all the cryptids out there. Because then there's the rake too, which is just basically a white alien with like red pupils. So it's like an albino alien, and it just hides in barns and stuff.
Ugh.
And abandoned buildings. And then it lures you in by like, that was the other one, the Wendigo. The Wendigo's another one. But that one's more like if you eat a human being, then you're going to turn to this like weird vampire goat thing. And,
well, Wendigo isn't a goat.
Or not a goat.
It's like this frail looking human.
Yeah.
And they get that way. It's weird because the lore is that if you, I'm gonna get this wrong, but from what I know,
Cannibalism.
Yeah, it's cannibalism, and it comes from your heart becoming so hardened and cold from greed that you just turn into this Wendigo.
Yeah.
It's not the deer with the antlers thing that's always portrayed in Hollywood. I don't know where that comes from, but
that's from Native American lore. So Native Americans, I think, depicted the Wendigo as being like, it would be obviously like cannibalism, but it's like somebody who's gone insane. So they wear the skull of a deer kind of thing to symbolize like, I'm a Wendigo, I want to eat you, stuff like that. Like, But I will say one game that scared the absolute crap out of me was a game called Until Dawn. And for those of you that are gamers watching this channel, you'll pretty much know what I mean by that. But yeah, Until Dawn is like, it's a horror game that looks like it could be a movie or a TV series.
Yeah.
But it's a whole video game genre where they take like different stories of like folklore and urban legends, cryptids, whatever, and they make it into like a horror game. Jump scares, everything like that.
Ugh.
And Until Dawn is like, so these two sisters, they die, and then the brother's there. They go out to the cabin where the sisters died. They find out that there's a thing following them, and it's a Wendigo. And at the end of the game, your goal is to save all the teenagers there, every one of them. But excuse me, I had to burp there for a second. But if you fail, then the rescue helicopter comes, and there's like, oh, there's no survivors. So, and that's why on the radio, then it's like roll credits, but it says like, all right, it looks like we can send a chopper there. And then it's like, how long do we have to wait until? It goes, until dawn. Oh. So, yeah, and then you find out the one sister somehow survived a drop into a mine shaft. Ate her sister to survive because she couldn't escape the mine shaft. She couldn't see where she was going, whatever, blah, blah. And then she herself becomes a Wendigo. And you find out that it's her from a tattoo. because the one girl, she mentioned she got her first tattoo and it was like on her arm or something like that. And it was of a butterfly, because the whole game premises is around like the butterfly effect, where it's like, if you do something in the future, it can affect the past or whatever. Or if you do something in the past, it'll affect the future.
Yeah.
So it's like based off that. So it's like, oh my God, there's a butterfly, Hannah. And then, and then your whole goal is to like just avoid or kill these Wendigo. So it's
Sounds
scary.
mega spooky.
Oh, it's spooky. It's very spooky. It scared the crap out of me, and I played it at night. Like when I was streaming, like I
Can you see yourself in the camera?
yeah, I can see myself.
What if you were looking at yourself in the
I got scared
camera?
of myself.
No, you saw yourself in the camera and then you saw something standing behind you.
Oh, there's vulgar language that I would say. Absolutely.
All right, get off my podcast.
No, it was a scary game though, and then plus I had it where my chat, I had scary noises that they could either pay for, or I'd have some out for free that they could jump scare me with. So if there was a moment they thought that was like really like scary coming up, they could, and it would blast in my headphones, and it would scare the crap. People loved it though.
Yeah.
So I think I'm probably gonna play more like horror games and stuff like that, because people love scaring people. I'll just say that much.
Well, yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, but that's the whole premise of the Wendigo. Essentially, I just as soon as I mentioned Wendigo, I was like, oh man, Until Dawn was such a good game. Yeah, then they have like The Devil Inside Me, which is like a Jigsaw like Saw movie kind of parody. They have one called Little Hope, which is based off the Salem witch trials, and then they have Man of Medan, which is a urban legend about a boat from Vietnam that apparently had every personnel die on it or something from some weird disease, but it's really people going insane, something like that, and it's a ghost ship. And then they have like this weird one that's like vampires. So, and the vampire one's dumb. It's like it's based off.
Vampires are never really scary.
No, but the ones that they do in this game are pretty scary. Like it's a decent storyline. It takes place in like Afghanistan, I think. Like it's soldiers and stuff like that, like where you're trying to fight through this like ancient Egyptian like temple or something, or Roman gladiator kind of thing. And then that's how you discover like, oh man, it's like vampires and stuff. And then at the end of the game, you see you have a choice to destroy the nest, and there's like a ton of these things. Like you literally walk into the entrance of the cave and there's like a ton
Of vampires
like nesting and like about to hatch. And so
Ugh.
and then you see like a truck like from World War II or whatever that's just perched right there, like caught in the webbing. And so you see that it's like, oh, flammable, and so you can shoot your gun at it and then it'll explode and burn everything or whatever.
I thought vampires had to be killed with a wooden stake.
It's like a wooden stake, and then there's like fire, I think, can burn them. Like, I think you can, like, light source or something. Like, it has to be extreme heat. So, because vampires can't go out in the sun.
Right.
And they...
Learned that from Skyrim.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, Skyrim. Good Lord, it's been a long time since I played that. But, yeah, vampires, it's extreme heat. I learned that a long time ago, like, same thing, Skyrim, but then also Baldur's Gate 3. Because there's a vampire called... what's his name? Astarion.
Yeah.
And he's a vampire, but he has, I think it's a curse or something. No, I think he's either a full vampire or half vampire, but he has some kind of curse or something put upon him where he can withstand the sun up to a certain point. So, but if it's like full concentrated light from the sun,
there's always one who has some special power.
Yep, absolutely.
But anyway, back to the original. Wow, that was quite the tangent. Those the video game tangent. But do you think that cryptids, is there a possibility that those could be demons?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like somebody sees Bigfoot, they might be seeing a demon.
Yeah, like it's just like it's another one of those things where maybe somebody is like, because I believe it like how I look at it is like how my dad taught me about Christianity is the more closer you get towards God, the harder the devil's going to make it for you to like follow that path of righteousness.
Oh, yes.
And so, yeah, that could be where you're getting close to God and then the demons are trying to like lure you or, try to I can't think of the word, but basically they'll play mind tricks with you, like thinking like stuff's real, and then you go crazy, and then you lose all your friends because you're crazy because you think Bigfoot's right in Walmart or something like that.
Or you become those guys who, what show was it called? Finding Bigfoot?
Yeah, where they're just like every 2 seconds, like, oh, I heard a branch break.
Well, okay, that was a parody YouTube channel. I remember that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Holy crap, it's a Bigfoot. He's fishing with a fishing net. Hey, bud.
We gotta look those up
Oh
after
my
this.
God, yes.
Rewatch those. But there was a actual show on TV called Finding Bigfoot. And it had, dude, I can't even tell you how many seasons it had.
And a lot.
And the crazy thing is these guys are out there, and I don't know if they actually believe that Bigfoot's out there. Who knows?
There's probably some people.
But
or they're getting free money, too. That's the other part.
But the amount of people that are watching it, because people have to watch it for you to have that many seasons. Unless you're that rich that you can just put so much money into having unlimited seasons, but those guys were not rich.
No, they weren't. They were getting money from somewhere. But that's the thing is, like, screw working retail. Let's just go find Bigfoot and get free money.
Let's do it.
I mean, that's how it is. There's some people, I'm just like, dude, how do you make money for stupid crap like this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here busting my butt every day, like lifting auto parts, whatever. And you're sitting here with a flashlight, and you're like, I heard a branch break. Oh my God, it's a Bigfoot. And
Yeah, but you have to remember these people. It's like what you said. The closer you get to God, the harder the devil is going to make it. And I think that comes with our lives working too, because
you could have like the most perfect job or whatever, but if you're, maybe God gave it to you, but then He's going to put challenges in front of you too. But then the devil is going to. Like, God will put challenges in your life, obviously, to better you.
Yes. I agree.
The devil will put challenges because he's just that much of a guy. He's just that much of a guy. He's that much of, he's just that much of, I can't say the word, but he's a trickster, I guess, is
there you go.
The more friendlier version of it.
Right. So I'm just saying those people who are just out there with a flashlight, I mean, who knows what their beliefs are?
Yeah.
But your job is honest. It ain't much, but it's honest.
But it's honest work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. And that's just the reality. As funny as that little saying is.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is.
It's true.
It's true.
Do you remember that one time when we were...
No.
Oh, neither do I. We were driving in my Jeep, and we were going to go off-roading.
Oh, yeah.
And it was dark out, and we were in the woods, in the mud, and you were like, dude, I wonder if there's going to be a... it wasn't
people jumping out or something like that.
It wasn't a Bigfoot. It was another... Because this was back when you were watching... What was it called?
Oh, the Blair Witch?
No, it was... You were watching Secret Tapes, a show called Secret Tapes.
Oh, yeah. It was... Oh, what was it? It was Lost Tapes.
Lost Tapes.
Yeah, because they had like a bunch of like cryptids. Like they had the vampire, the Bigfoot, they had the Oklahoma octopus, a bunch of stuff that looked real. Like they had the Jersey Devil one was the dumbest one out of all.
You ever go back to those and say these are clearly fake?
The only one that I believed at the time was the most real was the vampire one because that one looked the most believable out of all the footage.
Was that the one where it was living under the house or something?
Yeah, it was living under the house, and like they were like, "Oh man, we're hearing scratching noises," and they set up CCTV cameras in like the kids' room, and they were like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, son, there's nothing in there." Like they opened up the closet, nothing's hiding in there, but yet when they leave, the night vision captures like this big black figure like coming at the kid, trying to pull him out and eat him, and then they like, yeah, we're just gonna see if maybe it's a raccoon or something. And then the pest control guy, he's like, I'm gonna go downstairs and do my thing. And then he comes across like all these trophies and weird random collectibles. And then he sees this big like human head thing, but then it's like sleeping, and then all of a sudden it's like eyes open, and then it just attacks him and kills him. And then then the husband and wife and kid all like hear the noises and screams, and they go running downstairs to see if everything's okay. Oh my God, it was so creepy. It's giving me chills right now. And because it was downstairs in a basement, and my dad's old house that he had this almost the same layout basement. Yeah. Almost the same layout. Yeah. And I was like, nope, I'm not going down there. And John's room was down there too, which was the best part because mine was upstairs. And yeah, and then the dad goes down there to see what's wrong, and then all of a sudden this thing is crawling up the wall. It breaks through the door, which was the dumbest part because that's when you could see it was like a rubber glove flop through the door, and then they eventually like go outside, they stab it with like parts of the door that came off that were perfectly like knife sized or whatever, and it kills them both. And then they're like, oh my God, thank God we're safe. And then it's like, but when they turned in the tapes to the police, they thought it was all a hoax. Do you believe? Find out on Lost Tapes when we uncover the truth. And it's like all this crap. But yeah, the vampire one, and there was one Bigfoot one that actually looked legitimate. Like that one, I was like, okay, that's believable. Because it's like hunters out in the woods. And it's at night because they're like hunting deer or something stupid. They capture on their camera like, oh, we found a deer or something like that. And then all of a sudden it's like this, and it's like this Bigfoot comes after them. They have to climb up on their like the hunter's pouch or whatever.
Blind.
Yeah.
Deer blind.
Yeah, the deer blind. And then it's like it's circling them. So they're waiting till like daytime, but then they're like, we can't wait here. We have to do something. And it's just. And then it pretends like it leaves, and then one guy goes down to be like, I'll look for help. I'll come back, and you hear, ah! Like the William Helm scream or whatever it's called.
Of course.
Like, like that. You just hear that. It's like,
why not just shoot him?
Because Bigfoot's impenetrable by bullets. Like,
whatever.
Apparently. He's bulletproof. He's bulletproof. Nothing to lose. Far away, far away.
Getting all the songs in.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I think that one time we were out in my Jeep and you said something was out here and I was like, okay, we're going back.
Yeah, you're like, okay, enough of that. We're turning around.
Yeah, I was so scared.
I'm trying to remember what that was though.
Me too, because it wasn't Bigfoot and it wasn't vampire. It was some other creature that you had on your mind from Lost Tapes.
Yeah. And then we were watching too, like this was when my dad was like rooming with somebody, but it was like the Blair Witch Project we all watched. And we thought it was real because
I thought that movie was real footage when I first saw it. Because you guys were like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah, and it was like
your dad said too.
Yeah, he said it was real and it looked legitimate. Like,
well, yeah, because it's like what are those movies called?
Like vlogs?
No, it's like something. I don't know what. It's a certain genre of movie.
Oh, like documentary kind of thing?
Yeah, documentary. But it's like they're filming it themselves. Like the camera person is running around. It's like the camera person is actually there. It's not a movie being filmed. It's like, oh, I'm actually here filming what's going on.
You know what was funny about that movie I just found out recently?
What?
So the 3 actors that played as like the teenagers that went out in the woods, or the college students that went out in the woods looking for the Blair Witch, they were hired for the acting position, obviously, and they were not even given a script. They were just given info about the Blair Witch and then the townsfolk of that area for the Blair Witch, which I forget what the name of the town is, but they would interview
Blair.
They would interview random people from that town of Blair, and they knew the whole story of the Blair Witch, but they weren't aware like it was like a movie they were being filmed on. It was like just a camcorder kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie after that was just pure, like just kind of say whatever you want. And then and I think part of it too was they were being messed with out in the woods, like for real, not by random people, but by like the film crew or whoever was there doing crap.
Yeah.
And so like the kids, like they were doing crap like that on the hands with the tent. And then they obviously had the house. They knew the house was out there, an abandoned house. So I guess it was a real abandoned house or something like that, I think. I don't know 100% on that. But yeah, everything else was improv. That's what it was. That's the word I'm thinking of. So all the rest of the lines, they weren't in a script or anything like that. It was just pure improv after that. I was like, dang, that's some good improv for like a 2-hour movie.
For real.
And then it just got really dumb after they made Blair Witch 2 and 3.
There's a second and third one?
Yeah, the second and
man.
third one are not even as remotely close to as good compared to the first one. And it's not even like camcorder, like where it looks real. It's all like Hollywood.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like they got real actors now, like Alec Baldwin, and he didn't shoot a guy, you know. Like, they got like whoever, and then it's so bad, dude. The second one is probably the worst one out of the 3. But yeah, and then they made a video game called The Blair Witch too. So that one's actually kind of scary. That one got me too when I was playing it. I was like, oh my God. Like, because they had jump scares in there too. And the Blair Witch though, or the creature, I should say, not the Blair Witch itself, but the creatures that they had in the game were like tree creature things. And they would like do that weird fast twitchy thing and stand still and just look at you.
Ugh.
And then as soon as you turn around, they like crawl on all fours and come at you really fast. I was like, oh my God. It scared me.
Wow.
I love games like that though. Like as terrifying as it is and like heart-wrenching as it is, like see my heart rate go up, like it is downright fun to play horror games like that. But yeah, so back to that whole beginning, long story short, I believe that most of them are probably demonic.
I forgot that that's what the...
Yeah, it was just mostly demonic, and it's nothing of a reality of a cryptid, because at this point, again, we would have found more proof on Bigfoot. We would have found a skeleton at some point. Same thing with the Chupacabra. Same thing with the Jersey Devil, Mothman, et cetera, et cetera.
Werewolves, all that stuff.
Yeah. So the only thing that they say is remotely close to evidence for anything is probably a vampire. Because people back then in the day, when vampires were like a rumor and people thought they were legitimate, people would be, I think it was tradition when you were buried, your skull was smashed with a brick or something. So that way you would not be able to come back. And then they had a bell at the top of your grave to where if you were still alive or a vampire, it would ring. To symbolize like, oh, we actually didn't kill this guy after he was pronounced dead. He's alive. He's a vampire. So, and then they would bury him, and some of them would stab him with a wooden stake and all this other crap too. It was messed up.
So if they were still alive, they're gonna dig them back. They're gonna dig them back up and then kill them?
They just leave them in there. But I know
I would have been so mad because there's no way they're a vampire.
No, but it was also not solely for that purpose. It was another purpose for in the event, like if they if they like noted that like the patient died or something like that and they really didn't die, it was just like
ring the bell.
Ring the bell if you're really alive and we pronounced you dead, but you were in a coma or sleeping. I don't know. Like they just saw you sleeping on the couch. Oh, you dead.
Yeah, because back then you wouldn't really be able to tell.
Right, yeah, not
the
like
difference
today.
between a coma.
I mean, granted, today it's a little bit easier to tell if you're actually dead or not, but there have been some cases still today with all the modern day technology that we have, that people that have been in a coma have been pronounced dead and they remember seeing the surgery and the autopsy done on them and all this other crap, and they can't say or do anything, and they've been alive this whole time. So it's more rare than what it is like back then, but yeah, that's just, it's weird. But yeah, that's the whole thing, is like the vampire one is probably like the most realistic that we've ever gotten close to in modern day, like from our past or whatever. So, but yeah.
Got to take out those people eating or drinking blood.
People eating, drinking blood.
But back to a subject that was even before that, with the idea of Randy Travis.
Yes.
Do you think that AI is going to take over music?
I think it could take over music, but more scarier is I think it'll take over a lot more than just music. And
wow.
Well, yeah, and it's not like a boomer thought or whatever, but
no, yeah.
It's more of like, if you've seen what people can do with AI now, it's ridiculous. Like, people have been able to make, like, now they're doing it where you can make an AI generated, like, there's one dude on TikTok that I follow, like, he made an entire, it looks like something off the news. Like, you're seeing this live of a car burning in the corner and a building collapsing and like people running away like in terror. And it's not even like video game-ish looking. Like
It looks real.
It looks, yeah, like real.
If he didn't say it was AI, would you think it was real?
Yeah, 100%. Like I would have thought it was something from Ukraine or something like that, where like a building was on fire or people were like running in terror because a tank was about to roll them over. Like that, if he wouldn't have said anything, yeah, I would have thought that's 100% like real. And so I
That
feel
is
like
scary.
And I am and I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists about the government and all this other crap. I do believe some conspiracies like the government was behind, and then there's other ones that I'm like, nah, they probably haven't done anything like that.
Yeah.
But you never know. But I feel like at the route that America's going right now, again, not trying to be political or anything like that.
Politics are allowed on this
I know.
podcast. So,
But like,
Lawrence brings it up all the time.
oh, fair enough then.
So-
Okay. So then I am going to be somewhat political, but in the state of like how the government likes to hide things and then likes to manipulate people, like COVID, for example, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
COVID was a real thing, but it wasn't as drastic as they were making it out to be, where it's like, oh, you have to wear a mask, and if you breathe in any air, you're automatically infected. Like we ain't in The Walking Dead. Like, come on now.
Yeah,
Like,
and it wasn't the Black Plague either.
yeah, it wasn't anything like that. They tried to make like they were like, another form of COVID is coming out and it's going to be deadlier than the last one. It's like, sure,
Well, people don't believe it.
right.
Don't believe the government and the media anymore after dealing with COVID the first time.
Yeah, so that's the thing too, is like, but then again, here you are with this AI generated, technology we have now, where people could, I don't know, for example, like with Trump right now, is they can make an AI generated thing where it looks like he like gun-hoed everybody in the White House, something stupid like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you're not going to say that it's AI generated. You're going to be like, wow, this is live. Here's a survivor. They get an actor, pay him up to make him look all bloody, like he just been through a massacre and crap like
And
that.
people will do anything for money.
Well, it's the same thing.
It's
With,
kind of scary.
it's the same thing with COVID too. Like they made it seem like all the hospitals were filled up too, but then there were people that were actually going to the hospitals that said like, Sharon was going to the hospital because her and her father had COVID and they were completely booked. The hospital had to turn them away. They go to like the hospital completely empty.
Yeah.
Like no one's in the waiting room. There's like rooms that are completely empty and the nurses are just sitting there going on their normal day. So it's like, okay, so they pretty much successfully manipulated us into believing that COVID was the world's biggest catastrophe in a long time.
Yeah.
What's stopping them from doing that with AI? Just saying. Because you can manipulate voices. You could take clips from this podcast, and
Right,
I could be like, threatening, like Johnny Depp right now, or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could threaten Johnny Depp with my voice and put it on the news, like, oh, Michigan Auto Parts man, Stephen Hansen was on his way to work, and then he saw Johnny Depp and threatened to beat the crap out of him. We have the actual audio proof. Then the AI generate my voice and Johnny Depp, and then, so on and so forth.
Yeah, they were already doing that on YouTube with Joe Rogan, Dr. Phil, saying, if you haven't received your $6,400 in government, it was like, do you remember that scam? It was a few months ago. It was like,
there's a bunch of them right now with Mr. Beast too, where he's like, yep, I invested in Bitcoin and now I'm giving everybody $1 million as long as you follow and give me your PayPal information in the TikTok below. Like that. And it's like, you could tell it's clearly fake, but it's like, they use clips that like they AI generate the mouth movement to where it sounds and looks like Mr. Beast is actually saying it.
yeah,
So-
yep. They would, with this one, it must have been someone who didn't know what they were doing because you could tell that it wasn't lined up with Dr. Phil's mouth, but it sounded just like him. So
Right.
if you're not paying attention, you're just like, whatever.
Right.
Then you would think that he is part of this scam. And it's kind of crazy.
And I guarantee you that's probably what they're doing with some of the stuff too, like, politics wise.
Oh, for sure.
With Trump and then, Sleepy Joe, him just sitting there and doing this. Sorry, lefties, if you're watching, but that's the whole thing is I'm just going to come out with it. I'm a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Get Joe out of here. I don't need his chocolate ice cream and his teleprompter reading crap. But that's the thing is like, they could AI generate, Biden saying something smart for once and people would believe it. They could. And then,
Well, what did they do? Drugged him up for his State of the Union, so he actually was able to talk really well.
Exactly.
That dude probably slept for a month after that.
He probably did. He's probably been sleeping the whole time. He's just, again, had Sleepy Joe. But yeah, no, like that's probably what they're doing. And I think they could be getting ready for something big at some point. They're just waiting to release it because, again, AI is still somewhat new. It probably has been around for a while, just nobody knew how to use it. And they were experimenting with it. And then now you have it where you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. So now they're just like, because again, here you go with Randy Travis. He comes back from 2013 to 2024.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's singing on the microphone.
Yeah, if you wouldn't have told me that was AI, I would have thought it was Randy Travis.
Exactly.
100%. It sounded just like him.
Yep. And here we are right now, and anybody could do that. They could make me say something, make you say something, make Trump say something, make the mayor of Whoville say something.
Not Whoville.
Not Whoville. Horton, here's a who. And that's what they can do, and that's a scary thought right there. They could say something devastating, like have even an iconic like hero to the public eye say like, no, I'm serious, like this is real, like you can't be doing this, like you have to give up your guns and whatever, something stupid, and then people do it, and then we're defenseless. And Second Amendment.
And with seeing the way that people freak out already, people will believe anything.
Yeah, they bought toilet paper, and it's like, okay, but the thing was with COVID, it had nothing to do with you pooping your pants.
Why did people go for toilet paper? I still don't understand that.
I think it was because they were in lockdown. And it was like, we didn't know how long we were going to be in lockdown for. So they were like loading up on toilet paper because you're not going to go outside and wipe your butt with a leaf.
I will.
What if all you had was poison ivy? I have a really itchy butt. But that's the thing, though, is like, yeah, people just went crazy for it. It was like, the one thing I will say is like when I lived at my apartment by myself and COVID was happening, I was working from home and they were advising, obviously, unless it's an absolute necessity, do not go outside at all. Stay indoors, blah, blah, blah.
Not even to a park?
Yeah, you couldn't even do anything.
See, that's where...
That's when they had the whole paper thing where it's like, if you don't have this paper in your car, you can be arrested. Like for being an essential worker. And yes, I did air quotations for those of you listening.
I remember I never had one of those and I went to work every day.
Yeah, and I didn't have one either. And I was forced to work at home from Farmers Insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine and all, but my call level went from 60 to 180 a day because people... So Farmers Insurance, what they did, as far as what I was told, is we sent out emails and we sent out papers, we sent out anything that we could to tell people, like phone calls even, from personal phones, whatever, saying, hey, this is Stefan from, Farmers Insurance, blah, 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 like verifying, like, this is legit. We're not canceling your policy at all. So you don't have to pay for months on end until the president or whoever gives the okay for everybody to go back to work. So if your house burns down during this crisis, you're going to still be fully covered. We're going to cover you. And people would still call panicking that their policy was canceling because before the whole letter and everything else got sent to them, they got a notice of cancellation on their policy. So we would be on the phones. My shift was 11 to 8. I would punch in 2 hours early. So I'd be up at 9 a.m. And there would be nights that I would not be off the phone until past midnight.
Were you at least getting some overtime?
I was, yeah, and the overtime was great.
Yeah.
But the problem was it was mentally, like,
well, yeah,
it was draining. Like, it was like, and I told my boss too, like, she was a sweet gal or whatever, but I talked to her and I told her, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I said, like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm like, nobody's calling to pay for their policy. Nobody's calling to update their coverage. No, they're just all calling to panic about their policy possibly canceling because of the COVID pandemic. And I'm getting tired of taking 180 calls a day, if not more, staying from 9 a.m. till past midnight, not getting any sleep, not getting any peace and quiet, all because these people are and I get it at the time because it was fresh. Like it was like a little after March when all this was happening.
Yep.
So it was still fresh in everybody's mind. But she goes, we're doing all we can, and we're debating about having more days off at this point for everybody, like only being open for like maybe 2 to 3 days a week, something like that. So that way, because it was overwhelming for everybody.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was bad, but yeah, it's like then the whole toilet paper craze happened, and my dad, he worked at an apartment complex, cleaning all the apartments for like people just moving in and stuff. So anybody that left toilet paper at their apartment or paper towel or vice versa, whatever, in their fridges, whatever, if it
They
was
left paper towel in their refrigerator.
no, but like if they left like certain things like milk that was still good, like for another like week or two, whatever it was, like they would just take it, and they asked the apartment complex before if like, hey, excuse me, these people left, you know, their toilet paper, like they have like a whole 24 pack, like is it okay if we take that because we have family? And the apartment complex people be like, oh yeah, you guys have been working for us for years, like you take care of your family. So my dad would come over, he would be outside of course, but he would bring a trash bag, and he would leave like, so for me and my brother, he would take some for him and Laura, and he would take some for me, and he'd take some to Johnny and DJ for him and the kids and his wife at the time. And we would just have like, maybe if it was a 24 pack, there was 4 of us, so we would probably have like 6 rolls each. But me being a single man, I didn't have to worry about toilet paper for a while. Plus, it was funny before the announcement.
Yeah,
was
single
even
men
made,
don't number 2.
Yeah. No. But yeah, we would I bought like 2 packs because it was on sale for like I think it was like a 30 pack or something stupid. It was like buy one get one half off. So I was like, for like $20 for a 30 pack, and it was like the Meyer brand too or whatever it was. So it was like cheap, soft, whatever. You know, so because I don't like the sandpaper feeling of it, but I'm just saying, like,
No, the really cheap stuff.
Yeah,
you got to spend a little.
I'm not going to sit there and go all out on Charmin and spend $40 on a 30 pack, but
you get those bears, bro.
You do get the bears, bro. Yeah, that's what I did, and so I had enough toilet paper to last me for at least a few months, if not maybe half a year, and it was just all in my walk-in closet that I had at my apartment. So it was like, all right, cool. And I just stayed inside. We played games. That's when Animal Crossing New Horizons was out. Me and you were playing that like crazy.
Oh, I was just going to ask, how did you... So other than work, obviously that was mentally draining, but how did you mentally survive living by yourself during COVID?
I'll say it was tough. One reason being was I had just gotten into a new relationship in February.
Oh, so you were able to number 2 then.
I was able to finally take that number 2. Me and it was Alicia, my ex-fiance. Me and her started dating shortly. It was after the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, because the Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out in February. It came out on Valentine's Day of 2020. And
wow, that long ago? Because I remember seeing it in theaters.
Yep. It came out February 14th of 2020. And I saw it with my buddy Tim. And then I saw it with Andrew and Hannah. And then I saw it with Alicia at the Getty Drive-In well after COVID. And me and her met it was after her birthday. It was the 25th of February of 2020. So then after that, like a few weeks later, obviously, that's when Trump was like, hey, we're shutting the whole kit and caboodle down. Yep. And so I was like really depressed and scared that I was going to lose this girl who I thought was like a God-given woman sent from heaven to me at the time.
Emphasis on
at
the time.
So yeah, she... You know, I asked her, it was almost like panic mode. Like I was like, hey, I know we just started dating and I have full respect for whatever decision you want to make. I would love to keep dating you, even if it's just FaceTiming right now until we know what's up with this pandemic.
Yeah.
But I said, if you do want to not date right now until further notice, or if you want to quit because of this whole pandemic thing, I would 100% understand. I told her, and I reassured her, I said, I do want to keep dating you, though. I don't want to just stop because of this pandemic. So we called ourselves the COVID couple. Because
Cringe.
yeah, I know, very cringe. Yeah, so we pretty much we survived it and rode it out. And her family, my dad was the first one to get COVID, and then her dad was the next one to get COVID, and then I was the next one to get COVID. So, but that wasn't until 2020. What was that? That was 2020. I think it was 2021 or 2022, one of the two. And
When you got COVID?
when I got COVID, yeah, because I was an assistant manager at O'Reilly Auto Parts at the time.
Okay.
And I remember I came home from work one day. I was totally fine. And I started basically, for those of you who haven't had COVID, it's a very worst case of the flu. It's a bigger case of the flu.
Yeah.
It's more intense. Like you feel like you're burning up more. You're getting cold sweats more. Yeah, it sounds miserable still. But, other than that, it's nothing like you're going to die over. It's just more
people were
intense.
really only dying if they had previous problems with their health.
Yup.
But if you're relatively healthy, you're going outside getting vitamin D, because they were saying that people with vitamin D deficiency were the ones that were really getting it bad. And then it's like they're telling us not to go outside.
Yeah.
We get vitamin D from the sun, though.
Right. And then
That's what's super weird.
they were saying, too, if you had, like a very weak immune system, like you were more prone to die, too. So like elderly people, whatever.
But that's with everything.
Right. And the thing was that's the part that scared me the most, because my dad, he's now 72, but he's beaten Vietnam, he's beaten cancer, and he's beaten COVID now. Alive and healthy, just old.
I got to see him sometime. I haven't seen him in years.
Dude,
I wonder if it's probably been like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute. He's doing good, though. He's still thinking he's like 20, being 72 and all almost. But yeah, no, he was, I was working at Walgreens when he got COVID. And I remember one morning, I think it was shortly after I clocked in at 9 a.m. Because this is when the mask mandates were still going on. And this was in 2020. It was in October, I believe. And I was living with my dad and stepmom at their house. So at 9 a.m. after I clock into cashier, I get a text. And it's Laura. And she's like, hey, your dad's been tested positive for COVID, so I don't know if you want to tell work that you need to come home. So I showed Brian the text with the picture of the positive message from the doctor that my dad was positive for COVID. And at the time with Walgreens, what used to happen is if somebody was a confirmed case, or they had somebody in the family of confirmed case of COVID, they would lock the whole store down, tell everybody to go home for about, I think it was either the whole day, depending if they could get a cleaning crew or not. If they could get a cleaning crew, it'd be about 4 to 5 hours. They deep clean and spray down the entire store, disinfect it. And then this was the very nice part. I got 2 weeks vacation, paid, to sit in the basement, play Call of Duty and Fortnite all night and all day. And just, obviously I was doing more than that. I was watching out for my dad. I had to, carry him to the bathtub because of how weak he was. He lost 30 pounds.
Jeez.
Because he couldn't move. He couldn't get out of bed. And he couldn't eat solid foods because he just throw it back up. He beat cancer.
Yeah.
And so, but cancer did a number on his body.
Well, yeah, it does to everybody.
Yeah. And so he couldn't keep solid foods down. He could have chicken broth and all that other stuff. That would be fine. But I had to help him in the shower. I had to help him get to the bathroom if he needed to go. I needed to just check up on him, while Laura was gone at work in the morning. And then during the nighttime, I'd let her relax for a little bit, and I'd watch out for dad. And yeah, it was scary because it wasn't looking good. Like he almost had to go back to the hospital because he was getting weaker and and then there was a point where he wasn't eating and it had been like 2 or 3 days. And it was scary.
Yeah. You say it was scary. Were you scared that this was going to be it?
I thought it was, yeah. I'm not going to lie because it was, again, all the reports of like elderly people passing away because they had COVID. Like they had, I know it sounds bad. I'm laughing about it. I know why you're laughing because I know why I'm laughing. But they had a weak immune system. So it was like, what do you do at that point? And so I was, dude, my dad's my best friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to lose him. Like, dude, we play Call of Duty Zombies with him. You played with him.
Yep.
The ray gun incident.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. And then just hanging out with him and being with him and him helping me through a lot. And I was like, I don't want to see him go.
Right.
And then he started finally getting better after, and here it is on this, podcast about Christianity and stuff and whatever. But like we prayed for him.
Yeah.
And so did the church at the time.
What church were you going to at the time? You can say, okay.
Yeah, we went to Frontline and, the pastor at the time, Brian, he was, praying for him and everybody there was praying for him because he also did the drums at that church too. So, yeah, but then eventually he started getting better and doctor said, all right, you're good to go. And I got basically 2.5 weeks I got 3 weeks full of pay, which was nice because my dad was sick for about 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, because what it was is after 2 weeks, you had to call and verify, like, hey, is the person feeling better? And I said, they're not feeling better. No, they're still, they still have COVID. But then after they were pronounced like you don't have COVID, they'd be like, okay, well, you still are not going to be coming into work for about 5 days.
Yep.
So then after that, it was like, all right, cool. So I got 2 weeks, I got 3 weeks paid, and then just went back to work like everything was fine afterward. But then it was funny because then right after that, I think they lifted the rule on that where it was like you only got paid for like 5 days worth or something like that. And then it turned down to 2 to 3 days worth and then turned to, okay, it's just a normal sick day. Because that's what it is now still too.
Yeah.
Now it's just if you have COVID, like, yeah, don't show up to work. But
that was some of the perks of the pandemic,
Yep.
if I'm allowed to say that.
I would call it a perk.
I'm
not afraid to say it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not either. I'm just, for lack of better term,
Yeah.
perks of the pandemic is I would have Tuesdays and Thursdays off from work and they'd just be paid.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to make it so that there wasn't a ton of people in the shop at the same time. I don't know what the reasoning for it was. It was just because of COVID, and then I would just have paid Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
And I played Animal Crossing all day.
Yeah,
and
and
those
then
days.
when I had COVID back at my old apartment, that was it was Division in East Paris or whatever. And
Oh yeah, you lived out there for a while.
Woodfield.
Yep.
Yeah. They I got about a week and a half's worth of pay, and then the rest came out of it was called PPO, which is protected, or PPTO is protected PTO. So I had accumulated enough to where I could have another week, at least for that time being, to where it wouldn't get into my regular PTO. So I just used that. I still had COVID after 6-7 days, and I did another test, and I kept taking tests and stuff like that. So I had COVID for about 2 weeks. And yeah, it was not fun, but all I did was play Overwatch and Fortnite and Call of Duty. That was about it. So, but I ordered a lot of Little Caesars and Pizza Hut because I didn't want to pay for shipped because they're expensive.
Yeah.
But I could.
So you get delivery pizza.
Yeah, I know. So I get pizza, but I mean, like that was the thing though. Is like, okay, I know this sounds unhealthy and fat as crap. But like you have a $5 pizza with some crazy breadsticks for maybe with delivery $15.
Yeah.
Then if you need to get groceries when you're, and you get shipped or Uber or whatever it is, you're paying like 40, $50, even if it's for like 5 items that cost less than $10. Because you got to pay the driver for gas, and you got to pay for a tip, and you got to pay for, the expenses and stuff like that. And it's like, it's such a ripoff. I'm like, I'll just get fat and order pizza. Just have that. And then, I had other food there too, but it was like when I'm just like not in the mood to have a peanut butter sandwich for the 5th time this week, because I couldn't keep it down, I was like, I'm just going to try pizza and see if that worked. That made it worse.
Well, yeah, it's this heavy,
Greasy
disgusting,
crap.
greasy food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I got COVID, it started off.
Nobody cares.
Well, who's this nobody?
Arnold Palmer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to him then.
Okay. All right, continue.
But when I got COVID, it started off as it was like the first day I had a fever, and the second day the fever was gone, but I had sneeze, and then I lost my smell. And I lost my smell and taste for months.
I lost my taste for 3 months, I think. I couldn't taste anything, and it made me so sad. But the nice thing is, too, when you lose your sense of, like, smell or taste, like, you can think about it this way. It may be disgusting food and smell, like, bad, but, like, you won't be able to taste it. You'll still get that food that you need in your stomach, and it just may be food that you don't like, but you can plug your nose and not smell it and then just eat it if you didn't have taste. But the one thing I liked is when I didn't have taste, I could smell the food, so it's almost like tasting it versus not being able to smell it. And the only way to be able to do stuff like what my dad had was he could only taste. He couldn't smell.
Yeah.
So if there was something he didn't like, it was a taste test, pretty much. So it was like, yeah, you could look at something as like a big, nice, thick chocolate cake, and it's really dog poop from the backyard, but he can't smell it. But when he bites into it, then he gonna taste a whole nother kind of flavor of chocolate.
Yeah, as if he couldn't see it.
Yeah, I know. Imagine he just did it. Just.
I remember too when we were living in that house with Ethan and Luigi, we all lost our smell.
Ooh.
And so we didn't know that the milk was going bad.
Oh.
Until our buddy Alec came over and opened the fridge and was just like, whoa.
You didn't see, like milk has a thing to tell like if it's bad or not, right? So like how in a gallon of milk or in a half gallon you see that little indent that's in the side, the circle?
Yeah.
If that pops out, that's bad milk.
Oh, I don't know if here's the thing. I don't know if
Here's the thing.
I don't
Didn't
think
know that.
I didn't actually know that. I didn't. That's news to me.
I
Yay.
found out like a while ago, but yeah, I didn't know what it was for. I thought it was they're just giving us less milk. But
I think we had milk, but I don't think all of us were big milk drinkers.
So it just kind of sat there.
So it kind of just sat there, and when we can't smell, we're not thinking about it.
Right.
Because we just open the fridge, take what we need, and close it. Because I was still eating all the food that I normally would. People are like, man, you can't smell or taste, so nothing to what?
I could just imagine like you're sitting there, you open up the fridge, you can't smell anything, you think the milk's all good, but then you like open it up to like, because you're a milk jugger, and you just like you take in a deep breath in and you can taste on how bad the milk is.
Like you did. Remember when you did that at your mom's and it was chunks?
Oh, dude, yeah, bad milk is, it's so gross. Because it moved. I'm not even joking. I opened up the fridge, got the milk, I swished it around, and it like, this is how much of a fat kid I was. It swished around, it sounded and looked like it was still good milk.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, I just opened it. And it smelled like, I opened up the cap and I remember it smelled like normal milk. So I was like, all right, cool. And then all of a sudden, I went to just drink it. And then, just
so gross.
Nothing but dude, I threw up in the sink. I was like, I'm done with this. I was like, that's gross. And then I remember, I think that same day too, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I think the milk's bad. Or I just put it back in the fridge like nothing happened and just cleaned up everything and then just had Mom discover it in the morning. She goes, I got to go run to the store and get some milk. Whatever. Dude, it was bad. I'll never make that mistake again.
I hope. It was disgusting.
Yeah, that was. Chunky milk is, it's the worst. I'd rather smell bad milk and know that it's, I think anybody would.
I think anybody would rather smell it and then
chunky milk.
than taste. That was just disgusting because you're like this, and it's just.
Well, then too, then there was another time too where I was about to do it, but I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to see this one real quick. I put it over the sink upside down and I squeezed it and it came out like toothpaste.
Oh,
yeah, it was that long gone. This was at Penn Street.
Oh,
like that long
Penn
ago.
Street. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We have to go now.
But I got to fill up my pop. Yeah, no, oh my God, dude. Yeah, no, that milk was bad. That was also the house that had bats in it too.
That was an old house, though.
It was, yeah. It had an octopus furnace from like the Salem witch trials, bro.
Octopus furnace.
Yeah, it was a boiler pretty much that like would heat the entire house. And why they call it an octopus furnace is because there'd be like little tentacles, like tubes of iron or whatever, because it was made out of actual iron, and it would go through the vents in the house to heat it up.
Oh yeah.
So that's why it's called the octopus furnace.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they had to destroy it with like a sledgehammer because that's the only way that you can really bend iron like that. So we got rid of that, got an actual central air system, I think. I don't know. But yeah, even though that was the main area the bats were in, we cemented up all the holes and everything like that they could have possibly been in. Somehow they still got in. These little things flapping around, Bruce Wayne style, just coming on in the house, thinking they own the joint, flying in our faces. And then the last time we had one, Marshall, I don't know if you remember our neighbor Marshall.
No.
He was like an old kid neighbor. He used to come bounce on our trampoline with like me and John, and his brother Stevie would come over too, and we all had fun. But their dad came over and had a BB gun, and he shot it. Because it hid in the corner on the porch, because we trapped it on the porch, and then he grabbed his BB gun, and you just hear pop pop like that, and then you just hear and then just dead bat. Like, and we looked at it too. I remember I was like, oh, like,
ooh, brother.
Ooh, what's that, brother?
I had to kill a bat once.
Dude, they're creepy. I'm sorry, like I know they're innocent creatures, but they're creepy when they're flying around.
This was more putting it out of its misery. I had to hit it with a shovel. It was remember when John and I worked at Circuit Electric?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those days?
Yep.
There was a bat, and it was on the ground. I think its wing was broken, so we put a flat piece of cardboard on it. And then I just was like, with the shovel.
Just a dying bat. It's not getting put out. You're just killing it more and more. Dude.
Oh, man. Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days, killing bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had our old dog Sam too there. Dude, she was the most innocent creature.
I remember Sam.
She could not hurt a fly. Even if like it bit her, she would not snip at it or anything like that. Like as kids, we're little kids, so we weren't like my age now, obviously, and like pulling on our ears and all this other crap. But like we would pull on our ears as babies, and she'd never nip. She'd never give us a look. She'd just lick us. And it was just, that's what she'd do. And when a bat flew in the house, she was like, oh, it's a new friend. She'd look around and whatever. And then it would come attack her face and she'd be like, oh, I don't like that. And that's what she would do. And then she just lay down in her bed that was in the living room and just like, I can't do anything with it. I'm just an old frail golden retriever.
She was old when I was your friend, it seems like.
She was 18 when she passed away.
Okay, so she was an old dog.
She passed in her sleep, yeah. We had a bed for her near the door in case she had to go to the bathroom. And so, yeah, and then we woke up one morning and then found out she passed in her sleep, 18 years old. And we had her as a stray when she was 3 years old? 3 or 4. She was pregnant, I know that much. And then she in her lifetime gave birth to 2 litters of pups. And one of them became a police dog named Stanley. And then he passed a while ago. But we got to see Stanley and got like trips to the police station, get to see him because he was like the son of the mom, and they got along and played well and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it was kind of a cool experience because Stanley was he was a black Labrador, so because she obviously had pups with like a black Labrador.
Sam did?
Yeah,
Okay.
the last set that she had. So yeah, Stanley he was a cool pup. So and then when he passed, it was kind of like, oh man, that sucks. But we got to go. We got like a little bit of a memorial thing for him since he was the son of Sam. So it was cool. It was a little fun childhood experience. Sad, but
Yeah, I remember when Sam died, it hit you
yeah, because Sam
really hard.
Well, yeah, because
Maybe it was Tej.
Tej too. Tej was so Sam we had when she was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But we had her for most of our childhood, and then we had Tej, and Tej we raised ever since he was a puppy, like when he was just getting his teeth in, pretty much. So he was young. He wasn't even a year old. He was only like a few months old or whatever.
Yeah.
So he could run around, play, do whatever. We got him when he was only a few months old. And he died of cancer. Or we had to put him down, but he had cancer. And I won't say what kind of cancer, but he had cancer. And yeah, that was sad because we also had him most of our childhood too.
Yeah.
We had him, I think it was a little bit before. No, it was a little bit before Sam. We just got him too. So we had Lily, that little Bouchon that my mom had.
Oh, yes, I remember Lily.
Yeah, and the way...
Come here, Goo.
Come here, Goo. That was... I have a dog voice for everybody. And then there's Bailey, and Bailey hated you.
Oh, I hated Bailey.
Yeah, the Chihuahua. It was that was my Bailey voice.
I remember Bailey bit me once.
Yeah, and he bit John too. He did not like John because John would give him a look and Bailey would look at him, and then I think John kicked him one time, and then he just... Because he bit him, obviously. Like, it wasn't just like John kicked him for fun. But, yeah, he just straight up, like, then didn't bother John afterward. He just, like, ran and hid. Because Chihuahuas are... I mean, they're all bite, for sure, 100%. But then it turned around where he was humbled real quick.
Maybe I should have kicked him.
Yeah, and then there was Jules, and she was... I don't know. She was fine, but there was one time where I was working at home, and then all of a sudden, like, she wouldn't leave me alone. And I got like maybe 2 hours of sleep because she kept having to get up and go to the bathroom like every 2 seconds. And then it wasn't even her going to the bathroom. It was just she wanted to go outside because a rabbit was out there. And I'm like, dude, screw off. It's 3 a.m. I have to work in like 3 more hours. Leave me be. Like, I was upset. And so I had to call in for almost a whole week. I was like, I'm just going to use my PTO for a week because I can't with this dog.
Yeah.
And I was watching them when my folks were gone on vacation for their anniversary. But yeah, I mean, I had a special place for all my dogs, like Sam, Tej, Lily, Bailey, Jules. There was Mika, who I don't think you ever met her because we only had her for like 3 months.
Yeah, I never met her.
She was an older dog. She was about like 15 years old, and she could barely move. But it was an older couple that owned her ever since she was a puppy.
Yeah.
And she was just, the dog was getting too old, and they were getting too old to take care of her. So she goes, yeah, we just want her, because we're pretty sure she's going to be in her final days here soon. So we just want her to go to a good home with like a younger family. So she lived for about 3 more months, and then she passed in her sleep. And she was a good dog though. She couldn't move or do anything. So like we were just humbling her, making sure she was all good and comfy, and she had a good place to stay. And it was in the wintertime too. She was a good dog though. I think she was blind in one eye, but she's very responsive, very kind. She never bit, anything like that. You just come over, you'd let her smell you for a second, and then she'd be all fine and lick your hand or whatever. And now we have Daisy, the other Bouchon, or whatever dog breed she is. God, I like her, but I don't like her at the same time. She's got anxiety just like my mom.
Perfect.
Right, perfect. Same haircut style too and everything. And then there's Yogi, who's my brother's dog, and Richard. Hate him.
Yeah, I know those dogs.
Yeah, I don't care for Richard, neither does John, but I mean, it is what it is. And then
It is
Yeah.
what it is.
I don't mind the cats because then we have Tyrone and Park Ranger. And Tyrone's a little kitten, and he's cool. I like him. And then Park Ranger's just a fat Garfield. He literally will. Dude, this cat. You remember your cat, like how you just randomly claw people to death?
Yes.
This cat, if you don't give him human food, because for some reason it's only with that, like we don't feed him human food ever. We just give him regular cat food. But for some reason, like if I'm eating a bowl of cereal and I'm about to drink the milk, this dude in the morning tries to come up and dip his paw in there like cats do when they want water and they're like that. And I pushed his hand. I did a little swat and I did it 3 times. And then he went like that to me. And he wasn't clawing me or anything. He was just like that to my...
Punching you,
Yeah,
basically?
punching me and whatever. And then he jumped off the counter and ran away. And I was like, the heck was that? Because I wouldn't have you milk. You don't look like you need it. Bro's got more rolls than Jelly Roll. Like, shoot.
Stefan.
Man's a representative of Michelin Man. He is a fat cat, though.
I was going to say, Jelly Roll is a big dude.
Yeah, he is a fat cat. Like, he's not Garfield big, but when he walks, you can see his belly just...
Park Ranger.
Like, it's a waterbed. Yeah. Yeah, it's a waterbed, dude.
I do like cats, though.
Yeah, cats are... I'm starting to grow on them. I'm 100% a dog person, but I'm starting to grow on cats.
I started to grow on cats because we have them at work.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's right, you do. You did tell me something about your cat at work.
And they start to like you after a while. Like, whenever I walk in the room, both of them just come up to me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'll give them some of my tuna because they do like tuna. But there's one cat that's a little bit fatter, and he like will push the other cat out of the way and to eat the food. And it's like, oh, now I see.
Cool. I guess it was your turn.
But he would probably be the one that survives in the wild because he's not afraid to take.
He's got
like
that alpha status.
Yeah, which is cringy when talking about people, but with animals,
with animals, it's like second nature.
Yeah,
second nature. Get it? Kidding. Anyway, continue.
Your kitten.
Are you kidding me now?
Meow. You
Meow.
kitten meow.
Kitten meow.
Has it been a year since the Titan thing?
The Titan. Yeah, it's been a
submarine.
year. Did you know that oh my God. There's another group that's going to make another submersible to go under and see the Titanic again.
And you're going to be one of the first ones to go in it.
Heck no.
Dude, you've wanted to see the Titanic
I
for
have,
years.
but not implode. I ain't going to sit there with what are they going to do? Get a PS5 controller this time?
What if it's a PS5?
Maybe if it's a PS5 controller.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't deal with the Logitech, man. I mean, that's the only thing that they found that survived the wreckage.
Logitech controller.
Logitech.
I also heard that, and this is conspiracy, but I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist too.
Yeah.
So put my tinfoil hat on. I heard that the government did know
They did.
that it imploded and exactly when, but they were just trying to. I don't know the reason why they were trying to distract us, but
that's the thing is, I'll tell you this much. You are right. It's not a conspiracy theory, though. It's legit. They were covering something up. We don't know what, but they did know that when that first sound of what sounded like that from underwater, that was the implosion. They knew that the submersible had cut communication and there was no signal from where it was. So they knew it had imploded. So for 5 or 6 days after they heard the noises or something like that, they still continued the search for the Titan submersible, thinking that people were going to have 96 hours of oxygen down there. No, they weren't. Not
in that thing.
No. Well, I mean, they had an oxygen tank in there that would supply them for a while. But at the same time, when you have pressure, that's strong enough to literally crush you within not less than a millisecond. Because I think, what was it? They did a whole thing about the Titan submersible with the implosion, and they were like, "Well, how quick did the people realize that they didn't even have time to realize that it was happening? They heard the creaks, and that was about all they got to hear because of how much pressure is underwater."
Would you die right away?
Oh yeah, you die immediately.
So you wouldn't drown. You would just die from the
die.
pressure, pretty much.
Their bodies turned into gel. There was no human bones. There was no. I mean, there was like human fluids on the parts, but that was about as human remains as possible that you can get on that thing with that much pressure on it. Like if it was like Lake Michigan, yeah, you're going to see everything. But if you're obviously down to the depth of the Titanic, which is like 2.5, 3 miles down below the surface, you have a tremendous amount of pressure.
Yes.
And that's why they can't raise the Titanic. But yeah, when that implosion happened, I think it takes it takes like, I think 2 milliseconds or something stupid like that to realize like you're in danger, or for a reaction of pain. That's what it is. Like two something milliseconds to realize like you're in pain. Like when you get a paper cut, like it's like almost like, oh my God, I got a paper cut. These people didn't even have time to realize that they were combusted into a gel-like form. They just heard the creak, is what they're speculating, is they at least heard the creak of the carbon fiber tube that was, poorly wrapped around this thing, and just, boom, died in an instant.
I just can't believe these billionaires.
They're stupid.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's literally all it is.
I know, but it's just like they get in there. They could have obviously spent their money on a much better sub.
Well, Titanic.
James Cameron goes down there all the time.
Yeah. Titanic's KD right now is 1,505 people. Just saying. You had 1,500 originally in 1912. Now you got 5 from the Titan sub. Let's just add more.
Do you have any speculations on what the government is trying to cover up, or what whoever is trying to cover up?
Well,
have you heard anything? I should ask.
I shouldn't say I heard anything, but I know in the past. So back in I think it was 85 or 86 when they were originally like saying like we're gonna try to search for the Titanic. Robert Ballard was the original like head guy that was going to run the project, but really it was a secret Navy operation to find I think it was a nuclear submarine from the Nazis or something like that they were trying to find. And so, but they used the Titanic as cover up. They found the submarine, or no, it was Russian. So they found the submarine 5 days before the expedition was supposed to stop.
This was an active Russian submarine?
Yeah, this was, or not an active. This was one that had sunk or something, but it still had active like bombs or something on it.
Okay.
And so they found the submarine, and they still had 5 days or something like that to left of the expedition to find the submarine. So Robert Ballard was like, "Hey, we have 5 days left. Do you mind if we use these last 5 days to actually try to find the Titanic since we're already out in the middle of the Atlantic?" The guy was like, "Sure." Sure enough, 1985 or 1986, they found the Titanic. So, and it was within that period that they had left of the expedition. So, and then obviously today they're still grabbing pieces of it, and they're still grabbing artifacts from it and doing research and taking as many pictures. The captain's room of the Titanic where Captain John Smith bathed, I think the bathtub's completely gone now. It's been that long underwater since I think the last picture of it taken properly was in the early 2000s. No, it was 2015 or 16, somewhere around there. And then within this short time period, the bathtub's already gone. So the Titanic
as in dissolved?
Yeah, it's dissolved completely. So it's a matter of time before the whole ship is about to probably dissolve at some point. But they're saying, "Oh, it'll dissolve in 300 years." I'm like, I think it might be a little faster than 300 years. But people are like, "Yeah, next year it'll do it." No, not next year. It's still there in one giant piece, or 2 pieces, I should say. But yeah, people are saying they're apparently still having a project to try to bring up the Titanic and put it in a museum. I'm like, that's stupid. That's literally, to me, that's a grave site. You don't see them raising the USS Arizona, do you?
Yeah, I don't see what the point is. The amount of money it would cost
to
raise it.
They said it'd be billions.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
And plus, you would need. They had several ways of doing it. They thought about ping pong balls because the density of them. But again, you're dealing with pressure underwater.
Ping pong balls?
Yeah, because they could do that with the USS Arizona right now if they wanted to. They could put ping pong balls in there, plug up all the holes, and just dump ping pong balls in there. And because of how much it sounds crazy.
I get it because ping pong balls float. And if you have enough of them, it would literally take... They would eat a lot of ping pong balls.
They would. Yeah. No, it would be an endless amount. But yeah, you could make the USS Arizona float to the surface if you wanted to with nothing but ping pong balls. But Titanic, it's split in half is the main problem. But then you also have where the water pressure is so like those ping pong balls are going to crush just like the Titan submarine. Like you're not going to know that a ping pong ball existed. And then there's something with wax. Apparently wax you can make stuff float with, but again with the pressure and how cold it is underwater, the wax would freeze and it wouldn't float anymore. It'd probably just sink and crush like the minute it hit the ocean floor. So yeah, it's dude, I'm a Titanic nerd. I know everything and anything about that thing. It's such a fascinating story, and the shipwreck itself is just like, I got you down to the T on that thing. But yeah, they have different things. Like they thought about building a giant like boat crane thing that would have like netting or something that would be able to salvage whatever pieces made it up to the surface, but somehow the boat will have enough pressure as long as they raise it slowly. It should be remaining in one piece. And then they put it on this boat thing, whatever it is, boat rescue thing. And then they float it back to shore. And I'm like, why would you do that?
This is all crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. But they're like, it probably will never happen because technology is not that good to be able to do that and contain the ship's shape. Because, again, water pressure. And you also have to be very slow while raising it too, because it's also with scuba divers, like you can't just rise to the surface.
Right. You have to take time.
You have to take time.
Adjust, adapt.
Because if they just went from 2.5, 3 miles down to the sea level where Titanic's at and just rose it up really quick, the whole ship would be gone.
Yeah.
By the time they raise it, it'd be nothing but piles of rust. So it's like, okay, but you want to be delicate with it. But I say I'm on one of those spectrums like of Titanic people where it's like, yeah, it'd be cool to see it in person, but it's also a grave, so leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would.
It's also, I mean, I'm sure it's cool to see. We have pictures now.
We have pictures. They made a 3D model of everything, like a really detailed 3D model of exterior, interior, everything they did scanning of.
And going down there is so dangerous.
And we have proof on that.
Well, we do. Okay, that was a terrible sub. The Titan was made by morons.
Yeah, it was made by like some guy that went to Menards one day and was like, man, I could make a sub out of some of this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how he got, I don't know if there's federal government regulations on that kind of stuff or what.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know how he passed because
Carbon fiber and titanium or whatever, because the dome part where they could see through crap was titanium or something. And the carbon fiber, the thing is, carbon fiber is like one of the strongest things too on the earth. And if you mesh it correctly, the problem is during production, they didn't mesh it correctly. And it was a combination of that engineering, and it's also with carbon fiber, it can only do so much pressure every time.
Yeah.
And that submarine actually did go see Titanic a few times. It got stuck on Titanic a couple times. The power cut off and everything because false engineering. The propellers that made it go forward and back just quit. So they had to get it hoisted up. And yeah, but the carbon fiber, when it's going up and down several times, that mesh is not going to hold for much longer. You almost would have to rewrap it again in order for it to actually hold properly to go down there and see the Titanic. And the problem is they didn't do that.
Yeah.
They just kept the original everything because it'd be too expensive to take apart, rewrap it, blah, 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 blah. And there we go. We heard a little, and that was the implosion. They did.
I just think that the things that people chase after in this life is just kind of ridiculous at this point in my life. That's what I've been figuring out.
Yeah. It's a little dumb. I mean,
and it's not just the Titanic. It's like everything that's happening in our world today is just people are going crazy, man.
Yeah, they are. Like, you can't even, like, say hi to somebody without, like, them freaking out about something.
Dude, I know. When I go walking, it's like you say hi, they just think you're creepy. It's like, I'm at Millennium Park. It's noon.
Or you just look at them and they're like, oh, I'm on that guy's kill list or something like that.
And it's like we're so disconnected, and I don't know.
Social media and technology.
Yep. It does make me kind of sad.
Because, I mean, back when we were kids, we had technology to an extent, but we didn't have, like, I mean, later on we did, but we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have MySpace. We didn't have, like...
We didn't have cell phones growing up.
We didn't have cell phones. So it was just kind of one of those things where we just were like, hey, here's some sticks and marbles. Here you go. I mean, we're not that old, but you know what I mean? Like, we had our things, like, to just hang out and talk. Like, I could talk to, it was funny. I could and couldn't talk to women back then. Definitely can't really just go up to them now unless they approach me or give me some kind of, hey, come talk to me. I'm a pretty girl. And you're an average-looking guy. You know what I mean?
What, are you scared to approach them?
No.
Is that what it is? Or it's just the society?
Society.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that it's like, it's because as a guy nowadays, if you approach a girl, unless you're like a Chad, you get looked at as like creepy or stalkerish. But
Stefan, you can't listen to those TikTok girls that are just like, oh, this guy looked at me at the gym and now he's a creep. You can't.
No, I know.
There's so many people coming out calling those people out.
Yeah, and no, it is. And I've seen it. Funny that you mentioned that because on my For You page, there was one of some guy, like this girl posted a thing and she goes, he was checking out my butt and I caught him on tape red-handed. And then she was doing a stretch that was not even a normal workout routine, that was like popping out her butt, like way out there. And yeah, if somebody's sitting there like doing an upside down butt squat, like on a butterfly bench or something stupid like that, I'm going to look. I'm going to be like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, just because it's weird. You're not looking at them. You're looking at the act that's bizarre looking.
Now, if they were just doing regular squats or something, then yeah, you're obviously looking.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like, no, girls, don't call out a guy like that just because like you're doing a weird exercise that nobody for one has seen at the gym anymore or at all, period. And you're claiming it is they're sexualizing you. Like, don't do that crap. Same thing with guys too. Like, you can't be doing some weird crap. like a weird pelvic thrust movement or something on the bench and then that nobody's seen. And then you get a girl looking at you and you feel uncomfortable. You're like, oh, she's objectifying me. And it's like, no, don't do that. Right. You're there at the gym to work out. If you want to help them out, don't do it in a flirty way unless you both have the obvious intention to. Just do your thing, work out, spot them, do whatever.
Girls want to be approached, though.
They do.
They say, well, you're the ones on TikTok are always the ones complaining, and those ones get the most amount of views. But
yeah,
the ones that come off, the guys that are creepy, are when you're not confident about it.
Yeah,
like you got to go up there and be confident.
I mean,
but it is hard because it's hard for me to just go up to any random person and start a conversation. I
mean, the closest I've gotten to is when I was at the Croc Center with John and Tori when we all were working out like religiously. I'd be on the treadmill because that'd be the first thing I would do for warm up.
Yeah, it's a nice warm up.
Yeah, it's a nice
the walk.
The walk, yes. And then I actually graduated to jogging, so that was
okay.
I did, yeah. My goal was to jog or walk at least 2.5 miles to 3 miles. If I could push myself to do more, that's what I would do. And there was a girl that she, out of all the treadmills, she picked mine next door. And I was listening to music and, I looked over and I was like, hey, how's it going? She goes, oh, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Just a nice conversation.
See, I'm taking that as 100% she wants me to talk to her. Because if there's a bunch of other treadmills and she chooses the one right next to you,
right. But
I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try to talk.
Right. But she was also in her 40s.
Oh. Maybe she was desperate.
Yeah, desperate. And you got like a 30-year-old guy. Granted, there's not that much of a age. And
That's the word now.
Of an age gap.
Gauge. It's a gauge.
Yeah, it's a gauge. But yeah, I look at that as anybody 10 years or older than me is like cougar material.
But was she 40 who works out, or is it 40 who looks completely 40?
Like completely 40.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it wasn't even like, yeah, I work out and I got like a 9-pack. It was like, no, I just am some 40-year-old girl bored out of my life and decided to come to the gym.
All right, I'm definitely not looking for girls with 9-packs. The girls who are too muscular are not really, I'm just not really into it. When they're fit, I like when they're fit.
Yeah. If they're fit and they at least look like they're healthy to an extent, like you can still be big and healthy. Like, I'm not like self-projecting here, but I'm big. And last time I went into the doctors, they said I was fine, just a little overweight.
Yeah, you're not morbidly obese. You're just a little overweight.
Yeah, I'm not morbidly obese, but like, yeah, I'm healthy for a bigger dude.
Yeah.
Like, could I be skinnier? Yes. Am I working on it? Yes.
Are you going to be skinnier?
Heck
yes.
Yeah, I am, girl. And yeah, that's the thing is I have that determination to lose weight. I don't go to the gym, but my job right now definitely is a nice alternative.
Yeah, I think if you combined that with a couple days or a few days at the gym,
yeah,
you would see some big time results.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can already right now. I don't have my man boobs like I used to. Like, I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, they're getting more stretched out.
It feels good though, doesn't it?
It does feel good. And I'll look better on my motorcycle, too. That's the other part. So I'll be a skinny guy on a motorcycle, not like a fat guy in a little coat from Tommy Boy kind of. So, I mean, it doesn't look bad already. Like, I look really good, and I've gotten a lot of compliments on the bike. But, I mean, it's one of those things where it's a nice confident issue, or not confidence issue, I should say. It's not that at all. It'll be a nice confidence booster is what I meant. Like, I already have confidence. It's just more of a confidence booster. Like, once I get more in fit. Like, I know some girls like dad bods. That's what I got. I would say I have a dad bod.
Yeah, but when they say they like dad bod, that's usually like the guys who are like football thick.
Yeah, they're thick. Yeah, football thick. Oh my god.
Yeah, like dad bod I would say you do look better.
Yeah.
It's like every time I see you, you're losing a little bit more and more weight. So I would just keep going with that route.
And it's not going to be like, I'm not, I didn't go into my new job where it's like the expectation of like, since this is going to be more physical labor, like in a month, I'll lose like 50 pounds. You know what I mean? But I know it's slowly but surely. But again, the more that I do and push myself like I do every day at work, then I'm going to lose that weight and see the result. Like, I already know right now my waist has already shrunk. So I'm pretty sure right now, because I'm a 36, I'm pretty sure probably within another month or two, I'll probably be able to go down to like a 34 or something like that. I would think, if I keep going at the rate that I'm going.
Yeah, I would definitely do the slow route. Because the people who lose the weight really fast usually tend to gain it really fast.
Yep.
But when you start cutting things out slowly, your body adapts.
Pops and stuff like that. Pop is the biggest one too, because that's the thing. Like, I'll have a pop on occasionally. Like, we just went to Texas Roadhouse and I had like a cherry Coke.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sitting there like I used to be where I drink a whole 2-liter and then like the next hour I keep burping. I'm sorry.
No, I just remember way back in the day when I would spend the night at your apartment, whichever one was on Plainfield by Meyer.
Oh, that was Mayfield. Yeah.
We would.
The protein bars?
No, we would order pizza.
Yeah.
And you would have a 2-liter, and then I would wake up and hear you wake up and just be like, and start drinking out of the 2-liter.
Yeah, dude.
That was crazy.
Because I was a hardcore dedicated gamer, man. I was like, I want to stay up late and game all night. You know what I mean? If I
Yeah.
have 2 days off in a row,
It's
shoot.
just funny to see how much you've changed.
Oh, yeah. Well, because now it's, I mean, this right here, this is, and I kind of watching my calories too, but this is like 80 calories.
Yeah, but those drinkable calories add up.
Yeah, they do. But
Because you
I'm
have
not
two
like,
of those, 160.
yeah. But like, I try to limit myself to at least 2. So like, if I go to work, I usually, okay, I'll say this. At work, I'm drinking water like crazy.
Yeah, water's good.
And it's like, like today, I brought one of these to work. So it was like, okay, cool. You know, I'll have one of those at work just in case I need a little caffeine boost or whatever. So, because I'd rather have that than I would like pop. That's like Mountain Dew. Like, because Mountain Dew is like what, 360 calories in one swig, and you're like, it's really sugary.
Yeah, it's 100 something calories, I think, per. Even those little 20 ounces, I think, are.
Yeah, still over 100 calories.
Yeah,
So,
I want to say it's 150, but I don't know.
yeah, so I mean, like stuff like this, I'll sit there and I'll drink that like, you know, whenever. But with pop and stuff, again, it's a very like rare occasion I'll be drinking it. Like I used to, like where you were saying, like you saw me just go and then just opening up the pop and drinking it straight from the bottle. I used to be a huge pop fanatic. Like back at the lake house with my dad, I think you were there a couple times.
Yeah.
Dad would buy a 2-liter of pop every weekend for me and John to have for the weekend. So I would get the blue Mountain Dew and John would get like a Dr. Pepper or something stupid. And by the time my dad got home from work, because he would leave, he would drop us off from school at his place, and then he would go to work at 7:00 at night, and he wouldn't be back till about I think it was 5 or 6 in the morning, and then he'd hang out for the rest of the weekend with us. But I would have that 2-liter of Mountain Dew gone before he came home. And there was the first couple times he asked me, he goes, "Did I not get you a 2-liter?" And me being a teenager, I'd be like, "No, you didn't." And I would throw the bottle underneath the deck of the lake house so that way like he wouldn't be able to. "Oh, it's in the trash." "No, you drank it." It's like, "No, I didn't get one, Dad." So yeah, but
It would be funny if years later he went back and there's like
and he saw all of
50
them.
of them.
Yeah, dude. No, it was crazy. I used to drink pop religiously. Like that'd be the only drink. I wouldn't even drink water. I would find Gatorade or whatever else I could find that was not water or anything healthy. But
what made you finally want to change?
it was just the fact that I looked at it as typical Hallmark moment, looked in the mirror, and I was like, you know the scene from the movie The Grinch with Jim Carrey was like, ooh, like that. That was me. I looked at myself and I was like, oh God, like I don't want this. That's a great comparison. But yeah, I was like, dang, like this is disgusting. And so I was like, I'm gonna try to at least drink something else. So I was like, I haven't had an Arizona tea in a minute. So it's a substitute, but I think it's a better substitute than having Mountain Dew 24/7.
Yeah, it's definitely a better substitute.
But
I would
you have,
say eventually cut it out.
Yeah. I mean, like, but this stuff, I think so far, the Arnold Palmer is like probably the better one. Because green tea is like, I think green tea actually only just has 100 calories in it. So the green tea is not bad either. But yeah, I'm not pounding them like I used to either.
Yeah.
Because I used to buy like at Walgreens when in the summertime, they'd have it was like buy 2, get them for like $1. You could buy a 12-pack for $12. So I would buy 3 cases of green tea and I would have them gone within like maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. Because I would just pound those things down. Like to me, they were that good. But then I was like, oh man, my stomach, and like I lost interest in the taste because I was just getting nothing but green tea. Because green tea was the only one that I liked.
Yeah.
And so I slowed down on that, and then I tried. Isn't it like the bow drink? That's like coconut water or something like that, or it's like bio or something like that. It's called, but it's like in a clear container. You get different flavors. There's like strawberry, kiwi, and it's like all natural drink and stuff. There's like no added artificial sugar or whatever. And I tried those, and they were a healthier thing for a minute, but I hated that. And then I tried coconut water, and coconut water's, it's not great.
It's not good.
No, it's not. I don't know how people can just drink that. It's like LaCroix. I can't live with LaCroix.
I like LaCroix.
I can't. It's weird.
I get it. I get why people don't, but I can drink it. I can drink it all day.
Well, I tried all the flavors too. I was like, I'm trying to give it the benefit of a doubt. Maybe I tried I think it was the pink one. It's like, oh man, I can't take this. Let me try the blue one. Let me try the green one. And I was like, I like the blue one better than the green and pink. So I bought a case of the blue one, and then I can't. I can't. I gave it to my neighbors like after one can, and I was like, here, you guys like LaCroix? Here you go. And they're like, oh, thanks, man. You sure you don't? I was like, no, I tried it. I tried it as a substitute for pop in Arizona, and I can't. It's so gross.
Ugh.
But yeah, and then, I mean, I feel better too, and I know, like, I've seen myself improve, like, just from losing weight too, or even just getting the motivation to do it. Like,
yeah,
I notice, like, I'm getting a lot better sleep compared to what I was when I was bigger.
Yep.
And I'm able to get up easier in the morning.
Yep.
I'm able to be more active, like, with my niece and nephew, and see them and play with them more. I mean, my brother, again, can't really do much. I mean, he can, but he can't at the same time.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they were to have me just watch the kids all day, I could hang out, play with them out in the backyard, do whatever. And then just overall, I feel like at work too, I remember when I would do more physical work at Walgreens, I wouldn't be able to keep up with anybody because I was how big I was. But now at O'Reilly's where I work, like, shoot, that place has me on my toes. Like, I'm sitting there just hauling and chugging it through like a dang diesel train, like just chugging away.
Water.
Water, and then just keep pumping and lifting and doing all the other crap I'm doing over there too with all the auto parts that we're getting in.
Are you getting sweaty?
Oh yeah. I reek.
Is there part of you that likes the sweating just a little bit?
It makes me feel like I'm actually doing something.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I'm welding.
Yeah.
When I'm like done with the day and I'm just like sweaty, and even as welding, you get really dirty too.
Oh, dude, you should see, like, if I didn't shower after coming over and I just wore my O'Reilly uniform, dust, wood pellets, cardboard bits, brake dust, everything from like the brake lathe, because we shave rotors and all this other stuff. Like, it's covering everything, including my face too. And the packaging sometimes just has dust on it because it's been sitting up on the shelf for God knows how long. And yeah, the workout or whatever, it's nice. I like it. And again, when I'm sweating, and I know this sounds bad, but I know, like, usually I heard this, but like apparently if you're sweating, depending on how much you're sweating, obviously there's a point where it's disgusting. But then there's like, it's a pheromone thing where it's like you're producing pheromones. So it's like a good thing. Like, oh dang, like, you know, I'll say this, I won't say their name, but there is a girl that notices that I'm working really hard, and she's over by me, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of weird. I could have sworn I saw her, you know, just not like going right up there like that. Like she just kind of like was smelling or whatever, and she goes, "Oh, you know, keep it up." And she gave me kind of a look, and I was like, "What was that?" Like, because apparently I've heard from women that if a guy's working out and like doing stuff, it's that sweat of like body odor that's like a pheromone or something like that for us guys that comes off naturally, that's like smells good, obviously to a certain point.
I don't know if it necessarily smells good, but I think it's something to do with
pheromones,
some weird primal,
like, and that's the
thingy.
one thing too, is like I know for a fact if I don't, and again it sounds bad, but if I don't smell like sweat and whatever, then I know I didn't do enough working out that day, which I haven't had a problem with. But I don't try to overdo it, obviously, at the point where I'm like drenching through my shirt and it's like a sauna.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm putting up a sweat and I'm pushing myself to my limit. And again, I'm feeling good about it. And I know I'm going to have a decent body again. I mean, I was really motivated to lose weight, and I lost a ton when I was about to get married. I'll tell you that much. But then after, obviously, that ended, or never happened, I should say. That one, that's when I started gaining in the weight again because of the depression. So, but I mean, now obviously life has happened and stuff. It's more of like, hey, you know, I'm happy where I'm at and I'm happy with myself. So now I can focus on myself. And that's one thing too, is that if you're looking for a relationship, if you're focusing on yourself and you're trying to do better, people are going to notice that, whether you're interested in a romantic way or just a friendship way or, you know, whatever, people are going to notice. So it's just like you're like, yeah, I'm seeing you. You're looking better. I'm not looking like a Walmart Santa anymore.
No, you're not. Before I was getting confused. I was like, dude, why are you not bringing me gifts?
Why are you bringing me gifts? Why aren't you saying ho, ho, ho?
But yeah, there really is something to working hard, sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
The only downside to it is if you want to do something after work, you have to go home and shower.
Oh,
that's what I don't like. Is I wish I could sometimes just get out of work and go hang out with people, but I can't do that. No. I don't have that option.
I definitely can't. If I even attempt, like if I came over here, dude, you would smell me and be like, go shower now.
Stephanie would say the same thing about me.
I would.
I mean, I'm dealing with metal and grease and oil and it's all over, and
it can be bad, especially some of the grease too. Like oil, I mean, like oil has a smell to it. Like I'm, again, auto shop, so I'm used to oil smelling and whatever grease smelling, but grease from when I worked at my brother's factory, that has an entirely different smell compared to oil. I would rather have the smell of oil on me than smell like grease. 100%. Oil just has a better scent to it, even though it's not probably healthy to inhale, but it has a better smell to it compared to like grease. Different greases have different they have different texture smells, I guess you could call it.
I know what you're saying.
But yeah.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Quite indubitably.
Well, it's getting kind of late.
It is
10:41.
Is it actually?
Whoa! Yeah. We're at 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Holy crap.
I didn't even know it was going that far.
Neither did I. I thought we were at least an hour and a half in, maybe.
All right. Well, if we had more time, we would definitely continue this, but you'll have to come on another time.
Time for us to hit the old dusty trail.
And everybody, with all the crazy stuff that we talked about, don't forget to find your identity and peace in Jesus.
Absolutely.
And have a very blessed week.
Merry Christmas.
And
a Happy New Year.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.